Hi everyone, welcome to Mr. B's Learning Channel. In this video, we are going to discuss this question. Okay, in my next video, we will be starting with the circle. Let me read this question. In this diagram below, the line joining Q and P, where Q is given -2, -3, and P is not given, A, B. X value is A, Y value is B. And A and B both are positive, which means P is in the first quadrant. Make an angle of 45 degree. The line PQ is making an angle of 45 degree with the positive x-axis, which means this angle is angle of inclination. Angle of inclination because the angle between the line and the x-axis, positive direction, anti-clockwise. We can see that. Now, the length of QP is also given. What is that? 7 root 2. Length of PQ is also there. N71 is the midpoint of PR and M is the midpoint of QR. So both N and M, they are the midpoint of PR and QR, which means you can see the midpoint theorem. What is midpoint theorem? The line joining the midpoint CN and M. Midpoint of two sides of a triangle is parallel to the third side, and MN is equal to half of PQ. So from the midpoint side, MN, the length MN is equal to half of PQ. Similarly, MN is parallel to the third side of the triangle, that is PQ. So that is a midpoint theorem. This must be there in your mind when you do the following questions. Is it clear? Now we are going to the first question. That is the gradient of PQ. We are going to calculate the gradient of PQ. Normally when it comes to gradient, we will look for 2 points on that line. The gradient of PQ. Did you see the line? This line. Okay, so 2 points are there where only 1 point is completely given. P is not given, isn't it? It's incomplete one. So we cannot use change in Y by change in X. So only 1 point is there clearly given. Now the next thing that normally we do is this line parallel or perpendicular to any other line whose gradient is given. That is also not here. Then how do we find the gradient of this line? Learners, we are going to use the angle of inclination because the angle 45 is there. That angle is angle of inclination of PQ. The angle between PQ and x-axis. We discussed that one in the first video of Grade12 Geometry. Those who didn't see, please go and visit that video. It's a big help to you. So we are using the idea of angle of inclination because gradient is involved in that formula. What is that formula? M is equal to tan theta, right? Tan theta, where theta is the angle of inclination. So we can find the gradient is equal to tan 45 degree. Tan 45 degree is 1. Therefore, we got the gradient of PQ is equal to 1. We have done that question. So here the mark allocation is 1 mark for the answer, then 1 mark for this angle of inclination formula with the angle also. Is clear? Now we move to the next question. What is that? Equation of Mn in the form y is equal to mx plus c and give reason. Here you are finding the equation of Mn. Mn is a straight line. I told you that if you want to find the equation of a straight line, we need what? 1 point on that line. So we can use that 1 point n. N is given, it is on Mn. You agree that? Now we need what? It is its gradient, right? How do you find? Is this line parallel or perpendicular to any other line? Yes, this line is parallel to PQ. The reason is midpoint theorem that we discussed before, isn't it? So we can use the gradient. So the gradient of PQ is, we know that it is M that we calculated. Therefore, the gradient of Mn is also N because they are parallel. Here, how do we write the answer? We know that Mn Mn is parallel to PQ. What is the reason? Midpoint theorem. Midpoint theorem. Therefore, the gradient of Mn must be equal to gradient of PQ. That is equal to 1. So we got the gradient of Mn. Now we need one point. What is that point that we are going to use? Is n, that is 7, 1. Okay, now we can get the equation of Mn using the formula y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. We need one point and a gradient. x1, y1 is 7, 1. That is y minus 1 is equal to m is 1 times x minus 7. Now simplify. Y minus 1 is equal to x minus 7. That is y is equal to, because they want the answer, y is equal to mx plus c. So minus 1 you have to send to this side. That is x minus 7 plus 1. So the final answer is y is equal to x minus 6. Is it clear? It got 4 mark. So the 1 mark is for the parallel line condition, because those two lines are parallel because of midpoint theorem. Other is this one, then substitution, then the answer. Is it clear? Next question is the length of Mn. You have to calculate the length of Mn. Here also we are using the midpoint theorem, because M and N, they are the midpoint of two sides of a triangle PQR. Therefore, Mn must be parallel to PQ, and Mn is equal to Mn is equal to half of the third side PQ, or 2 times Mn. When you take Mn and multiply by 2 is going to be PQ. So Mn is equal to half of PQ. Reason is midpoint theorem. Midpoint theorem. Clear? So what is PQ? PQ is given 7 square root of 2. So half times PQ is 7 square root of 2, that is given in the question. Did you see that? This one. So the final answer is 7 square root of 2 divided by 2 units. Don't forget to write units, because you are calculating the length Mn. It's a 2 marks question. 1 mark is for the answer, 1 mark is for the reason. That's how we do this question. Now we move to the next question. The coordinates of S. Coordinates of S you have to find. Coordinates of S such that PQRS is in this order is a parallelogram. If PQRS is a parallelogram, then you have to find the coordinates of S. So you have to use the properties, one of the properties of parallelogram, that is the diagonals bisect. That is the PR and QS, like this, QS, meeting at the same point, or the midpoint of PR is same as midpoint of QS. What is that midpoint? N. So the diagonal bisect each other. So we have Q is minus 2, minus 3. Then N also, the midpoint also given, that is 7, 1. Now you have to find what? Yes, let me write S is X, Y. You have to find the X value and Y value of S. We are using the idea of a midpoint formula. Since N is the midpoint, this 7 is there because of X value of minus 2, Q, plus X value of S, that is X itself divided by 2. From here we can solve and find the value of X. That is minus 2 plus X is equal to, send it to other side, that is 7 times 2. That is minus 2 plus X is equal to 14. Therefore, X is equal to 14 plus 2. So the answer is 16. We got the X value of S. Similarly, find the Y value of S. That is, the Y value of the midpoint N is 1, is there because of minus 3 plus, minus 3 is the Y value of Q, plus Y value of S is Y itself, divided by 2. Then solve and find the value of Y. That is minus 3 plus Y is equal to, cross multiply 2 times 1, that is 2. that is minus 3 plus y is equal to 2. Therefore, y is equal to 2 plus 3. Answer is 5. So, we got the coordinates of S is 16 and 5. Did you see that one? So, the coordinates of S is 16, x value 16, y value 5. Now, it contains 3 marks. So, the mark allocation, obviously, 1 mark is for the x value, 1 mark is for the y value, then 1 mark is for the method also. So, this is the marking allocation. Yes, now last question, that is 3.5. The coordinates of P. At this stage, what is there? P, A, B, isn't it? P, x value is A, y value is B. You have to find the value of A and B. That is the x value and y value of B. How many marks? 6 marks. Guys, in analytic geometry, if you see the marks 5, 6, 7 like that, definitely there is a stage where you have to apply solving simultaneous method. 99% it is like that. Here also you have to apply solving simultaneous method in 2 equations. So here you have to get 2 equations in terms of A and B. Somehow use your idea, your knowledge to get 2 equations in terms of A and B. So how do you get 2 equations? You have to think about the idea where P, the point A and B, must be involved. So look at that in this line PQ. In this line PQ, we already know that gradient is equal to 1, isn't it? So where we can involve the point P. I'm finding the gradient of PQ. You know that gradient of PQ is equal to 1. How do you get the gradient? I'm using the point P and Q because I want to see that P is part of this one. That is why I'm using the idea gradient. I know that, I'm going to use this point and this point. That is y2 minus y1. That is B minus 3 is plus 3 divided by x2 minus x1. That is A plus 2 is equal to 1. We got it. So from here we can get one equation and cross multiply. That is B plus 3 is equal to 1 times A plus 2. You have to use bracket. That is very important. Here there is no problem because 1. Any other number, please use bracket because you are sending a binomial. Clear? That is, now simplify. That is B is equal to A plus 2, 3 other side minus 3. That is B is equal to A minus 1. See, we got one equation. When I used the idea of gradient, I got it in terms of A and B. You can use any idea as long as that P is involved in that. You can use the equation of PQ, anything that you can use. Okay, but remember one thing, where A and B both must be there. So I got one equation A and B. Now I need to look for one more equation because here I have to find A and B. 2 variables are there. Clear? So what will I use? What will be my next idea? See, here we can see that I'm going to use, because the distance of PQ is given. See, where also I can relate the A and B. See, the distance PQ. PQ is equal to given 7 square root of 2. What is PQ? You know that square root of end points P and Q. That is A x2 minus x1. That is A plus 2 whole square. Plus y2 minus y1. That is P plus 3. Because P minus 3 whole square. That is B plus 3. That is PQ is equal to 7 root 2. See, here also A and B come here. Now simplify. Square, because of square root to both sides, square this thing like this to eliminate square root. You know that one. So it's going to be here without square root, A plus 2 whole square plus B plus 3 whole square is equal to, here when you square this side, 7 become 49 times, or square root of 2 when you square it is going to be 2. You see that one. So A plus 2 whole square is going to be A square plus 2 times A. Multiply all of that is going to be 4A plus last term square is going to be 4. Because you are squaring a binomial, you will get what? A trinomial. Don't forget that. Now here, see b, I'm going to replace because I have an equation, so I'm replacing here rather than opening the bracket and substituting. I'm just replacing b with what is that? A minus 1. So it's going to be what? A minus 1 plus 3 whole square is equal to, this is going to be 98. Now simplify. This is going to be a square plus 4a plus 4 plus this is going to be what? A minus 1 plus 3 is going to be plus 2 whole square is equal to 98. That is, I'm opening the next bracket, that is a square plus 4a plus 4 plus this one. When I open it again, the same thing, we get it. Different ways we can do this question. That is 4a plus 4 is equal to 98. Now we are almost close to the answer. Simplify a square, how many 2a squares are there? Then 4a like terms is going to be 8a. Then 4 plus 4 is going to be 8. Now I'm taking 98 to this side, that is minus 98. I can see a quadratic equation is forming. Is equal to 0. So it's going to be what? 2a square plus 8a minus 90 is equal to 0. Isn't it? Now I'm going to simplify because all of them go to 2 as a common factor. So it's going to be a square. I'm dividing by 2 in all the terms. Plus 4a minus 45 is equal to 0. Those who have problems, from here, you can use quadratic formula, you will get the answer. Okay, if you have problem in simplification, from there, a is 2, b is 8, c is minus 90, put it in the quadratic formula, you will get the answer very easily. I'm going with the factorizing method. See, this one we can factorize very easily. Open 2 bracket with the a, like this, is equal to 0. Look for the number. When you multiply, answer must be minus 45. When you add it, answer must be plus 4. What are those two numbers? That is plus 9 minus 5. Because 9 times minus 5 is 45. 9 plus minus 5 is plus 4. Is it clear? So we got two values of a. That is, a is equal to minus 9 or 5. Isn't it? Since where is a? The point P in the first quadrant, this is the valid one. This is invalid, right? Not applicable. This one must be taken. So the a value, we got it 5. Then what is b? I'm going to substitute in the first equation. What is b is equal to a minus 1. That is, b is equal to 5 minus 1. Answer is 4. So we got the point P whose x value is 5. Then y value is 4. So we are done. Is it clear? This is a 6 marks question. So in general, you have to get two equations in terms of those unknown variables, then solve simultaneously. This is how we do it. Now the mark allocation is 6 marks altogether. So 1 mark is for this one in terms of b in terms of a. Then the other one is this quadratic, this distance formula, and then one is for this substitution here, 3 marks. Then 1 mark is for the x value, then the y value of p, then 1 mark is for the standard form of quadratic equation. Is it clear? So altogether 6 marks question. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this video. In my next video, we will discuss everything about the circles. So wait for my next video. Until then, bye bye.